This pie is so good.
First, we're going to start by wrapping 2 large sweet potatoes in aluminum foil. My grandmother believed in baking her sweet potatoes. She didn't like to boil them because she said when you boil them, it boils out the flavor of the sweet potato. So we are going to be using 2 large sweet potatoes because the rule of thumb is how many number of sweet potatoes that dictates how many pies you will yield. So since I am going to bake 2 pies, I am going to bake 2 large sweet potatoes. Then we're going to place our large sweet potatoes on a baking sheet and bake them for 1.5 hours. You want them to be so tender that a fork can go through them easily. I am going to measure out 1 cup of my favorite sugar-free sweetener. Feel free to use whatever sugar-free replacement you like. If you are not sugar-free, just add 1 cup of sugar. We're going to measure out 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. My grandmother's recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of nutmeg, but I am going to be using 1 tablespoon because I really love nutmeg and I like the spiciness that it gives a sweet potato pie. So I'm using an extra teaspoon, but please use 2 teaspoons for the recipe. 1 teaspoon of lemon extract, 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract. My very dear friend Tracy made me this homemade vanilla extract for Christmas of last year, and as you can see, it still has the vanilla beans in it. The flavor is so rich and amazing. So this is going to give the sweet potato pie an amazing vanilla flavor. The rule of thumb is 2 eggs per pie. So since I'm making 2 pies, I am going to crack 4 eggs. I am using 2 pie shells. I have a regular pie crust, and then I am also going to be using a gluten-free pie crust. We want to make sure that the pie shells are room temperature, and then we just want to pierce them all around with a fork. We want to do this because we are going to put the crust in the oven for approximately 5 minutes to do a pre-bake so that they're not doughy. So we don't want them to buckle up and bubble up. So just pierce both the regular pie crust with a fork, and then I'm going to also do the same for the gluten-free pie crust. I'm just going to place these in the oven now for 5 minutes for a pre-bake. Here they are, they're all done. Now let's get to the recipe. Our sweet potatoes are done baking. They are super, super tender and very, very hot, so handle them carefully. The first thing you want to do is remove the ends of your sweet potato. Then carefully cut them down the center to remove the skin. Examine your sweet potatoes carefully, looking for any dark marks or any twigs that may be embedded inside of the flesh of the sweet potato. Once you complete this step, add your sweet potatoes to your mixing bowl. Have a cup of water or a bowl of water nearby because you're going to want to mix your sweet potatoes and make them into a smooth batter. In order to do this, you are going to have to remove the strings in between mixing. So for this step, you want to mix your sweet potatoes. You want to lift your blender and your blades, and you want to just look for strings. When you see strings, you want to rinse them off in your bowl of water and pull them out. and repeat this process until the batter is completely smooth and free of strings. I did this step 7 times, but trust me, you don't want to miss this step because you don't want to bite into your pie and have a lot of strings. You want it to be a smooth texture. After you remove all of your strings, then you want to start by adding your sugar. I am going to start by adding a 1/2 cup. I'm going to blend it, and then I'm going to make sure I scrape the sides down of the bowl and get it smooth and well combined. Then I'll add a stick of softened butter. I'm going to blend that well. And then you want to add your eggs. You want to add them one at a time, making sure that they are well blended. Then I'm going to add my cinnamon. I'm going to add my nutmeg. Then I'll add my lemon extract. Then I will add my vanilla. And I'm just going to let this blend very, very well. Making sure that I scrape the sides of the bowl. We want to make sure that all of the spices are well incorporated into the batter. And once you add them, they will kind of stick to the sides. So you definitely want to make sure you scrape down the side of your bowl and get those spices throughout the batter of the pie. So once we blend it very, very well and everything's well combined, I'm just going to give it a tiny little taste because I want to make sure that I didn't add too much sugar. So I left half of it out, but yeah, it could definitely take the rest of the sugar. So I'm going to add the rest of the sweetener here, and then I'm going to just finish this by mixing it very, very well. Make sure you stop in between mixing and scrape down the bowl really well. We want to make sure all of the ingredients are well incorporated. So I'm just going to remove the mixer blade, and I am going to get my prepared pie shells, and I'm going to spoon out equal amounts. I'm going to start by just spooning out like 4 large spoons into my regular pie crust here, and then I'll just follow that up by adding 4 large spoons into my gluten-free pie shell as well. You want to try to kind of eyeball it and make sure that your pie shells have equal amounts of pie batter. These are deep dish, and I'm telling you, when my granny said that it is 1 large pie per pie shell, she had it down to a science, because if you look, I am adding all of this batter and I have none left. The batter fit into both of these deep dish pie shells perfectly. 2 sweet potatoes yields 2 pies. So once you completely add all of your batter, you just want to move the batter around and kind of tap it. You want to flatten it out, and you want to make sure that it is no bubbles and the batter is well distributed throughout the shells. I have my oven. It is preheated at 350, and I'm going to just take the pies and put them in the oven, and we are going to bake them for 30 minutes. They are done baking, you guys. Beautiful. So this pie on the right of the screen is the gluten-free, and the pie on the left of the screen is the regular pie crust. I have both pies here. So this is the gluten-free, and this is the regular crust. Both are sugar-free, so it's still kind of warm, but I'm just gonna cut the regular crust. That there. And then I'm going to cut the gluten-free. So just go right here because this crust kind of is still warm. But I'm just gonna go here. Go here. So I get asked sometimes, like, you know, when you're eating sugar, you know, when you're doing a sugar substitute and you're not using sugar in your recipes, how does it taste? So I'm gonna ask my husband to come. I want you to taste this and tell me what you think. So I'm gonna try this too.
This is extremely good. It's excellent.
Wow, this is really good.
This is good.
We've done our sweet potato pie. We got one sweet down. I look forward to the next time. And remember, until we meet again, please be kind to your mind, but most importantly, be kind to one another. Bye.